Hey y'all, I'm Alex.
And my name is Joe from the Bump Boys.
And this is Nostalgia Junkies Podcast.
Hey retro lovers, welcome to the Nostalgia Junkies Podcast, where we talk all about pop culture, retro toy collecting, and nostalgia. And now, here are your hosts, Alex and Brandon.
So Joe, what are we talking about today?
I think we're just, shooting the shit, just talking about...
Talking about you, buddy.
Oh, I guess we're talking about me.
So, as you guys realized, Brandon's not here. Brandon just had a child with his wife, and we're letting him get acclimated. And obviously, again, we're not in the basement because, like Joe said last time, my basement is being demolished.
Also, I ate Brandon.
True facts.
Oh, I look like I could have ate him, and I could have ate the store, but I didn't.
There's no food in his store, though.
When you
move these away from you?
When you fat, you just eat. You don't even taste shit anymore. It just goes in the mouth and it just.
One day I'll get to that level.
Yeah, right. One day you don't even taste shit anymore. The lead tastes like ketchup, bro. I'm fired.
Oh God! So you are filling in for Brandon while he is out right now. We're filming in the Bump Boys studio while my office is being redone, and you are from the Bump Boys. What is the Bump Boys? Why the name the Bump Boys?
So we basically are a tree, or now we're a group of four. But a group of guys who just want to, find the passion and care and love that we found about wrestling from back in the day. So a lot of stuff came up. We kind of fell out of wrestling.
Okay.
I thought it'd be fun to start something, put it together. I hit up Will and Danny. And
so Will's your brother?
Will's my brother, for those who don't know. And then Danny's a friend from high school and college.
Okay.
And we just started shooting the shit. Actually, it's been a year.
Nice.
Since we recorded our first episode. It was originally me and Dan that started the first episode. And then Will tagged along, but he was always around for when we did that. And it's just a way for us to, talk about wrestling, find funny things in it, express ourselves in our opinions through wrestling, and it's a great way to, stay involved in wrestling without having to consume as much product that's out now. Because, it's not like a TV show where it's like, 30 minutes to an hour a day. There's, multiple promotions. There's multiple companies, and that's just in America. Then you have, UK, and then you have Japan. So it was just something we came up with, Bump Boys. The first thing you have to learn in wrestling is taking a bump.
Okay.
The bump is basically when you fall on your back, flat back. Usually that decides whether you're going to stick with it or fail.
Okay.
It's the first lesson you learn when you walk in wrestling. And, it was basically a way to say, we're all taking that first step together.
Okay.
So that's where the Bump Boys came from. And we basically started putting in the work. And once WrestleMania hit, we got a nice little following. And then now we're up to 4K. Actually, we hit 4K today. So.
Awesome! Wow,
it was definitely something a little fun. Shout out to Danny for great editing skills, and Will for finding out all these fun topics and stuff.
So you guys have been going a year. You're at 4,000 followers.
Yep.
Now, have you found that this has been an easy road to go down?
Hell no. So this has been extremely difficult. Like I said, we started this company, or I guess you can say company, or this concept a year ago, but we didn't start taking it seriously.
This movement.
Yeah, we didn't start taking it seriously to make it a movement until I want to say January, February.
Okay.
I want to say mainly February. It's been like a strong. I want to even say March. Like we started taking it seriously, but it's been like 5-6 months that we've taken it seriously, and in that time we've definitely seen growth, and it's definitely a process. So it's
now, have y'all hit like any time to be like, okay, is this some now? So you talked about taking a bump, so when you fall flat on your back.
Yeah.
And you got to decide, okay, are we going to go with it or are we going to move on? Has there been a moment in your podcasting journey over the last year that has been what you would call the bump?
When we first started off, it was difficult. Our quality sucked. My computer's processor was right near the audio interface of the laptop. So once it started kicking into high gear, you heard humming. We've heard robotic voices through Zoom. We've had technical issues. We've had, new computers bought, new gear bought, very expensive, the whole setup. And it's been parts where there was like I don't know if I'm joining, or I don't certain members, but I don't know if I can stay, or I don't know if we can keep doing this. Is it sustainable and stuff like that? But you got to realize, like, whether you have the analytics where you're getting hundreds of thousands of people listening to you, you got to do it just because you're having fun. It's a way. The way we just look at it is, whether nothing comes of this, it's an outlet for us to express our interest and love in wrestling, and everything that comes with it after that. Recognition, the interviews, and the prestige and stuff like that. That's secondary. That's something that we weren't gonna.
The whole movement of Bump Boys, the whole thing, the whole driving force behind the podcast is you and your boys just having fun. Yeah,
just shooting the shit, having a good time, and just putting people on who deserve recognition. So, most recently we had an interview with Isaiah Bronner.
Wow,
people don't know him, know much of him. If you're thinking WWE and TNA and AEW, but he's the Midwest best kept secret. That's what he calls himself. And we talked to him, and next thing you know, we got interviewed we got recap for Fightful TV or Fightful.com, which is a big publication for wrestling.
Okay.
And now we liked his work before he was like on AEW and stuff like that. So now he's on a couple AEW matches and stuff like that. But that's just because he's just a great talent, and it's nice to like showcase and spend that time picking his brain and stuff like that.
Yeah, seeing
just how great of not only great of a wrestler he is, which he's a great, but just a great of a human being he is. And that's the best part about wrestling is he came from football, and there's people such as like Alex Van Zandt, he used to play Yu-Gi-Oh back in the day with us. And he's on the indie scenes. He's a couple champions in a couple federations and stuff like that.
Wow.
But he used to play Yu-Gi-Oh and stuff like that. And you see this big buff black guy that used to be an NFL or used to play football and stuff like that. And then you see someone who used to play like Yu-Gi-Oh and stuff like that, and you realize they're both in the same field, like they're doing the same thing, and they come from completely different backgrounds. And it's just interesting to see just how diverse it is and stuff like that.
Nice. So you taken over for Brandon on Nostalgia Junkies podcast. Nostalgia Junkies is really kind of about everything that we grew up with, that was like surrounded our childhood. Everything retro and nostalgia, really. I mean, that's how we got the name. And Brandon owns a store, Retro Junk, in Manchester.
It's a great store. I stopped by, I think, last week.
Yep.
For the first time. I've always heard about it because his family is very well respected in Manchester.
Yes, they are.
Off the river. Me and my brother's first baseball glove, our first camping stuff was at his
at Far's.
Was it his grandfather's?
I believe so. Yeah,
his grandfather's place, and that's a staple in Manchester. It's back since the
it's a landmark. Like,
it's basically with Cheenies when you think about it. And you guys are who are the Cheenies? They were the leaders of silk for over here. So just put some respect on it.
Basically anything on the Eastern Seaboard that was silk was produced by the Cheenies
in Manchester, Connecticut, and it just that's how crazy it was. But just the vibe I got into it was literally walking into the 90s.
Yeah.
And it was crazy cool. Like,
and Brandon has spent a lot of his life just kind of garnering that stuff for his personal collection and selling a lot of that on the side. And he and I kind of talked about that. He taught me a little bit about the hustle and what valuing parts of your collection. And I feel like today, because you're from the Bump Boys, you love wrestling, that you and your brother are into that, your buddy Danny.
Yep.
So we want to hear a little bit about that, but also what are some of your collections? Because growing up with you, I also know that you, like myself, are a fellow nerd.
Yeah. So growing up, was a lot of Pokemon, a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh, the staples and stuff like that. I think something we always collected was I forget where it was, but I think there was like a drink. It was a Digimon drink back in the day. And it used to have these bottle caps. And on top of the bottle caps, there was a sticker you would peel off. And on there, I think it was like a Digimon or something on the cap. And I remember, you could pull Digimons from there. My mom used to have us wash them off, put them in a bag. And when we were cleaning out the basement one day, we found a bunch of these Digimon bottle caps. And it was just one of the coolest things ever. They probably were nothing, but it was just something really cool to see, growing up in the 90s, early 2000s, something like that.
That's really cool that your mom actually held on to that, too.
Yeah, I think it was just like, she had in a junk drawer and stuff like that. Hey, go put it in there. She cleaned out the junk drawer, everything went in the basement. And once a year.
I feel like a lot of parents be like, "Oh, it's bottle caps are trash, chuck them."
Yeah,
but your mom held on to them. You guys found them. Like, do you still have them, or did they not make the move one day?
No. So, little fun history about us. Growing up, our mom was very big on hoarding, I guess you could say hoarding. That's the best way to say it. She would hold on to like a lot of stuff. Like there's things she's found from like when she was a kid, but it's cool. But then she realized she had to get rid of a lot of stuff, so she started getting rid of a lot of stuff. Our stepdad was very big into collecting. He's a car collector. Very big on collecting pieces of his life in car form, or making things in car form that represent him and his journey through life. But for a lot of stuff, she's I think now she calmed down on her collection.
Okay.
Like now I think it's angels and rocks and amethysts. So those are some things that she collects.
Okay.
And that she holds near and dear to her. But I want to say nowadays I'm collecting one of my favorite collections I have so far is the Harley Quinn original comic books when she finally got her own comic book.
Okay.
So that's probably that's probably my grail, I guess you could say.
Is that?
Yeah. Harley Quinn was just one of those characters I liked when Batman animated series came out. So
that's where she came from. Was from that series, right?
She did so good in the animated series. They made a comic up for her, and then 9/11 hit, and she had a comic. I think it's like her second or third comic was basically the 9/11 shoot, which is pretty cool. Just think about you're just brand new into history, and now 9/11 hits, and now you're a villain, but you have to show patriotism and rise against evil and stuff like that. So that was really cool. But I'd say that's probably one of the coolest things I own, and finding them is so difficult. But I think it's a Hero Legacy in Manchester. Yep. I found a bunch from him, and that's been a very helpful thing. There's a couple pieces I'm missing here and there, but nothing major.
I'll say another good thing about Heroes Legacy, like I actually have a folder there where they pile all my stuff up, and I go like once every 2 weeks, and they put everything there, and it's nice. But if they have something, or you want something and they don't have it, they'll help you find it. Like they'll see if they can get it either from one of the distributors, if another local shop has it, if they know if any of their collectors have it. Like they'll put out feelers for you. And I feel like that's something like, I feel like we get a lot in Manchester, like between a bunch of our small mom and pop shops. Agreed. That, I've gone to like, I just did a road trip around the country where I went to all these different toy stores. Yeah. And out of, I probably went to over a dozen toy stores across the country, just finding random stuff. And there's only one store. And I mean, I went to Tennessee, Nebraska, Michigan, Canada, and came back. And there's only one store that really I felt would do the same. Like they see that, oh, you're a collector, oh, you have a high interest in this. Let me see what I can do.
Would you say like a lot of times they would you would be like, hey, I'm really looking for this or whatever. And at times they wouldn't, put that extra step of like, hey, I may know someone who may have it.
I would say if anything, it's almost just the more dejection. Like it's like, oh, well, you want something I don't have in store. Obviously, I can't sell that to you.
So find something else.
Yeah, either go on eBay or buy what I have. And it's kind of sad, which is the one thing I think that Brandon does so well. Brandon. I mean, I've volunteered hours at Retro Drunk, and I've watched him like firsthand work with customers, and I've also been on the receiving end of it. He does such a good job. Like working with customers, like if he knows that you want something, he'll write it down sometimes, and or he'll keep a mental note. And if it comes to the store, he'll shoot you a message. He'll let you know about something, or he says like, I might have a lead in like a little bit. And it is so cool. Like he's been honestly like one of the sole reasons why I've been able to have such a big Street Shark collection.
Yeah, Brandon's been very, very helpful. So the reason why I noticed these things is when I was helping you out with counting off some Pokemon cards and stuff like that. Kid came in and Brandon knew exactly what he ordered last time. He knew this kid's collection. He knew what this kid liked. He was like, hey, I remember you got this and this last time. Are you coming back for this? Because you mentioned this in the conversation before. And the kid's like, yeah, I really want this and this.
He just has that encyclopedic knowledge of his customers. And it's so great. And I feel like, again, like those small mom and pop shops, like they're not just customers. It's like a family.
Yep.
Like they're people who you see often.
their community,
Exactly.
their family.
Exactly.
And he's a big, like, his family is big in, like I said, Manchester, Connecticut.
Mhm.
And some people couldn't take their legacy, their family's legacy and heritage, and basically do whatever they want because their name's above everyone else. Brandon's not that person. This man will go out. He's not entitled. He doesn't get things served on silver platter. He understands hustle. He understands drive. He understands the culture and stuff like that.
Exactly.
So he does it out of the kindness of his heart and for the love of the art, and that's what made me really respect him. And just that interaction I saw with him and that that kid and stuff like that.
Yep.
Kid wanted a little bit more and stuff like that. He's like, you know what? Why not? The kid's smile was worth that extra bucks. I could spot him right there.
Yeah.
And that kid's gonna remember that memory by far. Exactly. And that's gonna be a repeated customer, and that's gonna be a person that now they're loyal to Brandon. They will go there before they go to like the Walmart, the Target, things like that.
Which is like, I'm not gonna name this store because I don't want to say bad things about other like mom and pop shops. Yeah. But I remember there was a card store that you and I used to go to when we were kids down in that same general vicinity. You know what I'm talking about?
I do. I still go to that place.
Yeah, I know you still go to the place. So there's a place that I used to go to, and I remember I was like 7 or 8 years old. They had a Venusaur in the binder, and I would like ride down on my bike. I see the Venusaur in the binder, and I saw the price on it. It was obviously more than I had at the time. So I did chores for my mom. I did chores for my grandparents. I did chores for my aunt and my uncle. I had a paper route. I would rake the leaves for them. I worked, and 5 weeks went by. I finally busted my butt, and I got enough money. I go down. Now remember, this is like before the internet was really a thing.
Yeah.
But the new issue of like the Pokemon card like worth thing had come out. It was up. It was like 4 or 5 weeks. They upped the price on the card. I now didn't have enough money. No, it was only like $5, and I was like, I'm here for the Venusaur card. I put my money down on the table. I was so proud. And he opens up, and he's like, "Oh yeah, okay, cool." And he like, I don't think he changed the price. He opens it, sees a different price. Sorry, can't help you, and puts the binder away. And I'm like, yo, like I've come down like every week for this card, like working on this card, make sure it's still here.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen. Like, I get it. It's a businessman decision, but it was like, oh, like, I don't know. Like, I feel like it's the exact opposite of what happened with that kid. So it's like, I love when that stuff happens for like these kids. Like they see it and like, it's like,
I hear that.
You respect the passion and the hustle.
Yeah. I definitely know the stories of that too. You told me that before.
I saw Will smiling behind the camera too.
It's
like we've all heard this story before.
Yeah, it's just one of those things, different personalities, stuff like that. I think nowadays, if it'd be a lot different nowadays after it's definitely a change and stuff like that.
I'll be honest, that didn't stop me from going back there. I still went and bought stuff. I still buy stuff there.
Yeah, it's just one of those moments in your childhood where you're like, man,
like,
I tried so hard. And
yeah. So I mean, I know I don't go in them like, hey, you got any deals? Like, that's not. It's not a place that I know that I'm paying face value.
Yeah.
I know that whatever I buy here, at least for me, will not make a difference on my next purchase or my relationship at that store.
Yeah, that makes sense. There's some stores where you have that. I guess you could say that camaraderie and interaction and stuff like that. I've been to stores where, hey, we're short on people for Yu-Gi-Oh and stuff like that. Hey, I'm bringing Will, Jamie, and 2 other dudes. Okay, perfect. You can determine free because you're helping me out and stuff like that here and there. But then I have had stores where it's like, hey, come on down to like New York or whatever. Okay, we're coming down to New York. We got told it was free, and then all of a sudden, it's not. And then it's like, well, what are you gonna do about it? And it's just like, so like I've had good experiences and I've had terrible experiences with stores and stuff like that. But those terrible experiences, I usually give them like one more chance, and if they screw me, they screw me. But those stores who always gave me a little leeway and a little bit of flexibility, those are the stores that I usually go back to and stuff like that.
Okay. So you mentioned you collect the Harley Quinn comics, but I've also heard you mention Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh a lot. Do you collect Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh cards as well?
Pokemon, yes. I started collecting Pokemon when my brother got me back into Pokemon as a kid. Him and Jamie would go play Pokemon a lot. and then I tagged along with that, and then we actually ended up making a pretty good YouTube channel on it and stuff like that, and had a nice big following. Will has probably one of the best deck profiles of certain decks up on there, and we were pretty good. Just didn't stick with it. But Pokemon, I think everyone in the 90s collected Pokemon. Everyone,
It was Pokemania.
Yeah, it's basically the resurgence, I think, right now of what the 90s was.
Yeah.
Of what Pokemon was.
And I feel like they're doing a pretty decent job with the anime right now. I don't know if you watch any of the current anime for Pokemon.
No, I follow a little bit. Like Ash finally got his Gengar, his Dragonite, and
yeah, I mean he's in the Masters 8 tournament. Like he is he is technically in the Final Four. He is currently one of the top 4 trainers in all of Pokemon.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering, are they going to finally give him his W? I mean, they just gave him the champion in Alola.
Yeah.
But Alola wasn't a real league, so a little asterisk there.
Well, I guess you could say.
Asterisk.
Well, asterisk.
Asterisk.
Asterisk. What do you call it?
No, I mean, the word is asterisk. But I'm thinking asterisk.
Oh, asterisk. Oh,
yeah.
No, I think it's a win of his, but he deserves it.
I mean, he still went up against strong trainers, and so I guess this could be a whole other episode about what constitutes a Pokemon League, but
yeah, just because it looks different doesn't mean I guess it isn't. But then again, that
looks like a duck, sounds like a duck. It's a duck.
Yeah, it's just 4 instead of 8, and instead of badges or stamps. It's like going to the post office and shit.
So you guys had this Pokemon YouTube,
and we collected a lot of stuff there. We got a lot of base set stuff. What was it? Base set Charizards. Everyone's in love with those. We had a crap load of them.
You still got any of them?
No, we sold them off. We had 3 people who we had to build decks for and stuff like that. So, with when you become a group and stuff like that, you have to look out for the group rather than one individual person. So, if Will's gonna bling out his deck, I gotta bling out mine. Jamie's gotta bling out his. We all gotta bling out. We all gotta be cohesive and stuff like that. And finding that stuff was a little difficult and very expensive. But nowadays I collect. I got a bunch of Dark Gyarados pre-release.
I've seen that stack. That is a big stack.
And then I collect Holding Phantom Energies. So that's been my main collection after the Harley Quinn stuff. I'm missing I think 2 or 3 Harley Quinns, but the Holding Phantom Energies. It's an old set and never not print anymore. I gotta wait for people to pull them, and then I gotta buy them from them. So they're really hard to find, on the open market. I've had a couple of people try and sell me fakes. But that's been my collection. So if you have any Holding Phantom Energies, let me know.
But so no more Yu-Gi-Oh.
I have a couple Yu-Gi-Oh cards here and there and stuff like that. I have some band cards.
Because I remember back when I was coming back from college and stuff, you, Jamie, you guys were huge into Yu-Gi-Oh at that time.
Yeah. Will got me into Yu-Gi-Oh as well, so a lot of my collection stuff comes from Will. But overall, Yu-Gi-Oh.
That Will's the linchpin in a lot of this.
Yeah. Well, when you're brothers and he says hey, I think we can make something out of something. Our mom never gave us that support or hey, yeah, go for it, do it and stuff like that. So we had to do it ourselves. So it was one of those things if he needs a little support, if I believe in it, I'll support it and stuff like that. But I got a couple band cards here and there that I keep. A couple cards that I always keep around. I keep my goat deck for it's almost like chess for Yu-Gi-Oh. So that's what I keep. And I keep some of my Yu-Gi-Oh accessories, but that's about it. All the other stuff, sold it. It's too volatile. It's too expensive. It's it's a lot to deal with, and the upkeep of it. It's a very Yu-Gi-Oh can be a very toxic community too. So
okay,
the less you have of it, the better, in my opinion.
Okay, so would you say that the Pokemon community is a little more open than the Yu-Gi-Oh community?
No, the Pokemon community is toxic itself.
Oh, okay.
Honestly, I think it's even more so. Just how people would literally line up at stores,
to beat down the doors,
to get Pokemon back.
So you're talking on almost the front side of it, not the back side.
In the media, I feel like Pokemon there's a lot more violence and just behavior that isn't acceptable for grown men.
Okay.
But now I'd say if you find someone genuine and stuff like that, you know, I think you can have better interactions as Yu-Gi-Oh! With the younger groups.
Yep.
But once you start getting into like the 18, 19 and like 20, 30 year olds, it gets they mix emotion with the game, and that just doesn't spell well.
There's not like a separation or anything.
No, it's always a challenge of who you are. It's male masculinity toxicity, I guess.
So it becomes part of their identity, I guess you would say.
They sensitive. They sensitive.
Okay.
That's the best way I could describe it. People get sensitive.
So I guess I can kind of leave it at that, because I feel like
I can go into it like Yu-Gi-Oh! People just be I guess the best way is I went to a tournament and I heard some people having a disagreement over a ruling. Gave them, hey, how can I help out? I know a couple things. I played a couple tournaments. I know a couple things here and there. I say I have a fair grasp on the rules. I hear the rules. I hear what the situation is. I'm like, hey, this doesn't happen because X, Y, Z. And I got met with, well, who are you? And I'm just like, well, my name is Joe. How are you doing today? Like, you try to kill that with kindness, and then it's like, well, when was the last time you played? Like, do you know this? Do you know that? And I'm just like, yeah. At a certain point, like, if you're gonna be petty about what I'd say, I'm gonna start name dropping, and I played with this people, I played with that person, I this person knows me, I know judges here and there, and stuff like that. And it's almost like you have to explain yourself over something like that. Whereas Pokemon, it's it's not that, but I guess you could say Pokemon is petty too. The way dudes be calling Judge over mad quick. Will can tell you stories about that.
Okay.
Judge, he played through supporters, and you're just like,
okay.
But,
so you collected Pokemon, you collect Harley Quinn comics.
Yep.
A little bit of Yu-Gi-Oh! Here and there. So would you say you've been collecting like your whole life, or like has it been something you've kind of like phased in and out of?
Phasing out, like periodically, depending on what it is. Growing up, I used to it depends on what I'm actively in right now. So like when I was a kid and doing Boy Scouts, I used to collect pocket knives. Like one with spoons, one with forks. Red ones, blue ones, special old ones from like back when Boy Scouts was just creative and stuff like that. I collect a couple knives here and there. What else? Couple slingshots I collected because I thought it was really cool. Got a really nice high-powered one that was made out of wood from the White Mountains. Then I found an old one that was native, and then I got rid of it the exact same day. And it's just a bunch of stuff. Like, it depends on what I'm into at the time, and then I'll find like a little niche market thing, and I'll kind of latch onto that.
Okay. So you phased in and out different types of collections. Do you think that, like, because I mean, I'm going to say, speak from experience here. Like, I mean, I know that like there are certain things in my collection that like they're going to be staples forever. Like the Pokemon, the Street Sharks, like those are always going to be main things in my collection. Like the Power Rangers. Like, I mean, we have a Megazord right here. Like that is like a crown jewel.
It's pretty dope,
dude. You can thank my wife for that. We walked into a store. And I was in the middle of trying to collect like all of the original Power Rangers, like mint in box.
Yep.
And I had one at home. I got a flea market. I found a second one at a flea market on the way down to Tennessee. We're hitting this last spot in Tennessee. It was this Outer Limits in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and I like walk in right on the right side. They have the entire lineup of all the mint in box, and I'm like, oh my gosh! And so I immediately grabbed like Kim, Billy, and Zach Zach that I didn't have, and all of a sudden she taps me and goes, hey, look behind you. And I turned around, and dude, from floor to ceiling in box there are just Zords, whether it's the Megazord, the Dragon Zord, the Thunder Zord, the White Tiger Zord, the Falcon Zord. You have the Zords from the Ninja Rangers, you have the Zords from Lost Galaxy in space. Dude, apparently the shop had just bought all of this guy's collection. It was more than just Power Rangers. It was also Ninja Turtles and Transformers, and this was like, and it's like perks like buy me.
You get some Beetleborgs.
Yo, I was honestly, the funny thing is, I've been looking for some of the Beetleborgs. I remember watching that back in the day. You remember the blue one?
Yeah,
dude. Everywhere I go and ask, do you have a Beetleborg? And I go, I think I got someone somewhere. It's always the blue one. It's always the blue one.
Yep.
Can never find the red one. Can never find the gold one. It's always the blue one. But yeah, no. So like I know that like the phasing in and out. Like I know like Nintendo is always gonna be a part, but there's one thing that I collected I'm still collecting it because I thought it was like it'd be something fun.
Yeah.
Stone Protectors. I don't know if you remember Stone Protectors back in the day. It was like a stupid niche cartoon.
No.
You know Trolls, right? Like with the hair.
Yes.
So you have Trolls, and obviously
Stone Protectors.
we all know Ninja Turtles.
I thought you were talking about like something protects stones. Like that's kind of weird, bro.
So picture like Trolls and Ninja Turtles had a baby.
Okay.
So it's basically the Trolls, but designed like a Ninja Turtle.
Yep.
And what they did is they put a flint in the chest with a little jewel, so you rotate the arm and it clicks and it flashes the chest.
Oh, that's pretty dope.
I thought it was like pretty cool. So
it's innovative, different.
I've been picking up a few of them. I found one on card at a flea market. But quite honestly, I'm like, I really like it, and I'm a hoarder, so I'll probably hold on to it for a long time.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I don't know. Like, I mean, would that something I would have collected if the time wasn't right? Is like my kind of thing. Like, so is there anything that you have that you probably like if the time wasn't right, you wouldn't have had it? Or if something was different, there's something you would have picked up.
Something I could have had that I didn't. Like where it's just like the time and opportunity, like everything was just like the perfect storm.
Yeah, so I guess maybe like better way to say this: what is something you regret not picking up?
I want to say a lot of Pokemon cards growing back up. Just I'm flipping through binders, seeing Pokemon cards and picking up for how cheap we used to get them for. That was been something, but I think
trust me, I know 5 weeks can make a difference.
Yeah, just a couple of days used to make a difference. I don't think I've had any really FOMOs really.
Okay.
Missing out. A couple moments here and there, but nothing that really stood out. Hey, I saw this card that got unbanned from a ban list or whatever, and now it's like $100, and you're just like, I saw like 5 of them last week. I probably should pick those up.
Okay.
You have a couple moments of those, but once you realize some that you didn't pick them up, someone else is gonna have that. You kind of get over it, kind of like that. But I don't think I have any that I regret not picking up. But my question to you would be: was there some that you like recently? Is there anything recently that you felt like you should have picked up, and you were like, I'm a fool for not picking it up?
So I meant to. I'm a huge Street Sharks fan.
Yeah.
And there is like the holy grail piece of Street Sharks is this 10-inch talking Ripster figure, this is Ripster right here in the front.
Yeah, with the legs, right?
Yes. Well, obviously he has legs.
No, the figure you're talking about.
Yes, the figure I'm talking about has legs.
Okay.
And basically what you do is on the back there are 4 buttons. You can press the buttons and it'll say like his catchphrase, like Shark Dive, like something stupid. Like one of those talking toys from back in the day. It was a mail away exclusive. And so now trying to get it, it's really hard. But over COVID, the creator of Street Sharks, Joe Galliani, he bought all these boxes off the conveyor belt at Mattel, and he started unboxing them. And one of them was a box full of Mega Talking Ripsters. And typically what he would do is he would stream on Twitch, him like opening these boxes, and then would put this stuff on his website like a month later. So he had these Street Sharks figure, like this one figure, on his website. It was $800, and I mean, I quite honestly, like, I can't spend $800 on a figure. And I was like, you know what? But I'll do Klarna. I'll do like the pay as you go thing. Yeah. It was the max for Klarna at the time was $7.99. It was $1 out,
just outside.
And I didn't pick it up. And now it's the figure. I saw it. The last complete unboxed one I saw go was $2,000.
Wow.
But there is some hope. There is some hope.
A lot.
I saw someone sell one on Mercari last week. It was missing the fin on the back. It was $200.
That's not bad.
So it's all over the place. So it's just like when you find it, you find it. So like every time we go on vacation or go to a flea market, I will bring like a wad of cash. Be like, we're gonna find it today. I'm gonna make them a cash offer. And
I think a lot of people see like the whole flea market thing as like, people just coming for tag sale and stuff like that. Yeah. But you can find some crazy stuff back in the day. Like,
dude, I got my Pikachu N64 at the flea market.
And that's a crazy find. Like that's a grail. It was a rare piece. Like me and Will would go to swap meet 6 a.m, and my stepdad, he'd be looking for car parts, rims, tires, cars, all that stuff, and we would be looking for video games.
Yep.
I've picked up Digimon World 3. If you don't know what that is, it's basically dungeon crawler. That thing is now like what, $60-$70 or whatever. I picked up Digimon World 1,
the
2.
video game market right now.
And we picked them up for like quarters. Like, they were quarters. Some kid was just getting rid of them. He didn't care about them. Or some parent threw them in a bin and was like, take this crap out of my house or whatever.
Yeah.
And, it's just one of those things. Like, it's just the stuff you had, you don't realize how much value it still has today. Because when you got rid of it, it provided no value or fulfilled.
Or you just give it to GameStop for $5.
Yeah, or you can go to GameStop and get screwed off. But, like, I think the crazy part is nowadays, people aren't getting that fulfillment that we got as kids. Like, when you were a kid, when you finished a toy or whatever, and you were fulfilled with that toy, you felt fine giving it away to someone else so they can fulfill that fulfillment or finally, be able to experience that. Like, when you beat your Pokemon, blue for the fifth time or whatever, and you have a yellow at home, sure, you can play on my Game Boy for all you want. Just bring in some fresh batteries for me tomorrow, and you can play all you want. Like, I was a kid that was bringing in extra batteries so I could play on some dude's, blue version, and I would go ham with, like, Arcanine, or what? I don't think Arcanine was in that game.
Arcanine was in that game.
Was he in blue?
Or was it? No,
he was in
you
red.
had Ninetales, I think, right?
I think it was Ninetales.
Yeah, you had Ninetales because Vulpix was a blue exclusive.
Yeah.
Why do I remember that? Well, I am wearing a blue shirt, but
it's right there. But it was just one of those things. Like, I don't know if nowadays kids are finally getting that fulfillment, especially with all the marketing stuff and how quickly things move around them.
I feel like you and we talked about this with like the grinding aspect of Pokemon Red back in the day.
Yeah.
And the thing is, as a kid that got Pokemon Red or Pokemon Blue, like, that was the game you got. There wasn't this mass like overproduction of games. Like, you had your staples, you had your Mario, you had your Zelda, you had your Pokemon, you had, your stuff on SNES, but like there wasn't a large abundance of games that were out and like super popular. Like, really all we had was a little VHS on the TV at the top in like Toys R Us or in Funko Land back in the day. That's what you had. And so like when you got a game, that was a game you probably had either until Christmas or your birthday next year. It wasn't just buying another game. So you had to make that game work. And it's like, I remember one of the only games, I think Pokemon Red was the only game I had at the time. So that was the game I played, and I grinded. So like I would spend for hours just beating Pidgeys.
Yeah. Growing up, I had Red, Will had Blue, and then eventually Gold came out. He bought Silver. I told my mom gave me an option to wait a bit. When I went to the store, I heard that Crystal was coming out. Didn't know if this was true or not, so I opted to wait. I think it was like 3 months.
You got Crystal?
And then I got Crystal. And then when I got Crystal, I was like, this is crazy.
That was like the peak of game design. Like that cartridge alone, the Crystal cartridge. Why did we stop doing stuff like that?
Because there's no appreciation in it anymore. No, now there is. But at the time, it wasn't.
Have you seen them take apart the Japanese Crystal?
No.
So if you take apart the American US Crystal or the PAL region Crystal, it's just a normal circuit board. If you take apart the Japan Crystal, it actually has a crystal like on the back, like in like gradation of the green on the circuit board.
Oh, that's pretty dope.
Right? Like that was just like the small attention to detail that Nintendo did was just so good. And like, I mean, that's why like I've probably kept most of my stuff from childhood that were Nintendo games. I think the only systems that I actually got rid of were N64 and GameCube back in the day. But,
yeah, a lot of the Pokemon stuff. I'm pretty sure my mom has a bunch of stuff still at her house with, probably Will's Silver and my Crystal and probably a Red and Blue there somewhere and stuff like that. But it's just like, I don't know, it's just not built the same anymore. It's just not the same quality anymore, and it doesn't hold that value as much. Like, video games, like, Switch games, I think are the closest thing to the Pokemon games because they actually hold their value out of all the video games, I'd say. But nowadays, you can just go online and download it instant satisfaction.
I know.
They don't know the idea of, waiting in line for, the 10 copies of the game that came in. Like, a lot of people don't experience that or whatever. So
exactly.
I feel
like shoe culture has even kind of deviated from that too. Like I know your brother's super into shoes.
Yeah.
But like I feel like back in the day, like you would go to the Foot Locker to get whatever was there, and I feel like now with the Sneakers app and the Adidas app, they kind of do the same thing. They've kind of taken that aspect of shoe culture away. That unless you know of like the physical drop happening at some small boutique, that's it.
literally, it used to be back in the day. It was East Bay. You got a catalog and you put your order in. You sent in a check, and you know, you got your shoes. And if there was an error with it, it would take weeks, months for you to get your stuff in. And with me, like, if I was someone back in the day, I couldn't dress in style back in the day. They didn't have shoe size like I have. Like, I'm a size anywhere from 15 to a 16 or 15 to a 17, and they don't go up to that. I can't shop in stores anymore. But now with sneaker culture and stuff like that, I can go on an app. I can go on Facebook. I can join a group. Yeah, and I can find so
I'm hearing
I can find Yeezys, Red Octobers that I can fit and eventually wear. Whereas in the 90s or early 2000s. You had to know someone. You had to know someone who traveled. You had to know that person who had that shoe. And for them to openly say, I have it, and trust them. Then you had to spend time going there, bringing it back, packaging and all that stuff. Where it's not like just simply like, I can talk to someone in, Japan right now and find any, anime thing I need or a certain piece of Japanese culture.
So I guess what I'm hearing is that collecting culture, whether it's shoes, cards, figures, it's all had its pros and cons. Would you say, from your experience, that overall the collecting world has, even though we've lost like those features for the kids, like they don't have that experience anymore? Do you think that overall collecting has gotten better?
It's gotten better to fulfill your collection quicker, but the prestige isn't there anymore. I don't think so.
The hunt.
The hunt is not there. Like I said, you can go online. Express shipping, you can get it in within a day. Whereas back in the day, you had to know someone. You had to know the person. You had to find. You had to actually hunt, and you actually had to find it. Nowadays, it's if you really want, like example, if there's something you really want, go on eBay or
so
type in Google and you'll find it.
That then brings me with your collection, like the Harley Quinn comics. Are you still missing a few of them?
Yeah, there's a couple I'm missing, here and there and stuff like that. But I think it's also, I have to also prioritize certain things, and I want to eventually display them and stuff like that on the wall. But it's one of those things it's gonna be in the background until I feel comfortable with the whole setup.
Do you prefer to find those in person, or are you just like if let's say all of a sudden like someone just said, hey, here's my credit card, would you say like, okay, and then like, I mean, I guess maybe give you a free credit card's not the best example, but would you rather find them in person, like have that experience of actually finding them coming across, like flipping through the box of comics, like, oh my gosh, here it is? Or would you just be like, okay, well, I have the means, and just ordering it and finishing it?
The gratification will definitely be finding it. The fulfillment will be finding it. The ease of access would definitely be just swiping a credit card, which is what most people do nowadays. Is how most business is done. But I think the fact that if you go out and you find it, you did the hunt. Yep. You found it without having to, using too much technology. And nowadays we still use it to get a general idea of where things can be. But I think the idea of, as a kid, even going through, certain, Pokemon cards, boxes of Pokemon cards, boxes of just junk, and then you find one thing and you just we're like,
back the memory.
Hey, this is something I need, or this is something I want, and it becomes a staple memory, a core memory. I think that's something that is probably going to be lost. And nowadays, you can only find things that people want you to find. If, for example, if Will had, a one-of-one, pop socket, I don't know, let's go pop socket or whatever, and someone's like, hey, I heard about this pop socket one-on-one or whatever, if Will never says anything about it, or he finds a way to get rid of it, destroy it, history will never know of where that is. It's a treasure. Yeah. And, when you find it, it's like you found treasure. Yeah. But nowadays, everyone lives on social media and the internet. It's a little hard to find things like that. So,
yeah, because everything's so publicized, and like you also have all the bootlegs too.
Yeah,
like the boots are difficult because it's like, are you getting the authentic thing, or it's like, is it potentially a fake? And I look in the card industry, that's huge.
Yeah, there's, especially with Pokemon nowadays, it's like very common to have fakes and stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure growing up, we've all had our fair share of like fake things being given
Getting
to
those
us.
gas station Pokemon cards in a clear plastic pack.
Oh yeah,
just hold them up. Yep, those aren't real.
Yeah, it used to be Dollar Dream. You can go and get like a bunch of fake Pokemon cards, and I used to go crazy over those things because they were $1, and you get some crazy looking art with some crazy foiling on it. You used to be like, yo, this is the new stuff coming out, man. Yeah. I didn't even care if it was trash.
That's actually the reason why I got rid of my fur alligator back in the day.
You thought it was fake?
I thought it was fake because, like, dude, we hadn't gotten gold and crystal or gold and silver yet.
Yeah.
The Johto Journeys hadn't made its way to the U.S. yet. We've had no advertising with the new Johto monsters.
Yep.
So all of a sudden, like, I open up a pack of cards. Like, yeah, it was like I remember it being like a silver pack. I think it had like a Chansey on the front of it or whatever it was. Might have had Miltank. Thinking back to, I'm like, oh, this is a weird like Pokemon card. Then I open it up and I'm going through. I'm like, Weedle, Caterpie, Energy, Kangaskhan, weird blue alligator. I'm like, this thing just doesn't look right. And I'm like, but it was in Japanese. It was holographic. And I'm like, I don't know what this is. And so like I held on to it a little bit and I'm like, thing is fake. I remember I think I sold it to somebody or traded it to somebody and like I thought I was scamming them. It turned out I got scammed myself. And like, okay, I wasn't really trying to scam them. I was like trying to sell them something and they wanted that card. So I think they knew what it was and then picked up that I did not know what it was.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, like that was like, it's so sad.
What's one thing you've noticed, or what's one item that you've been finding has been extremely hard lately to acquire, or at least even track down to find a general person who has a general idea of where it could be? Like, there's gotta be something in your collection where you're just like, I know it's in this area. I know it's in Japan. It's in this dude's basement,
or something that like I want or as I noticed.
Something you want, something you know that is a staple piece to your collection, whether it's something small or something big, but you know generally where it is, but you don't know how to go about it.
eBay aside, like eBay and like all apps aside, I think the hardest thing for me to find right now is GameCube Sonic games, and like I'll even like any Sonic games. I cannot find any Sonic games other than like the typical Sega like Sonic 2.
Yep.
And it's like, for someone who grew up on GameCube, I think you remember Sonic Adventure Battle 2.
Yep.
That game was so much fun with all the grinding.
It was fun.
I can't find that game. Sonic Air Riders, can't find that game. That's one of my favorite games.
Wow, and I remember that.
And I can't even like, and I've like, again, like I just did this whole road trip and I looked at every single, like, we went to Game Trader, we went to Game Exchange, we went to mom and pop shops, like even at Retro Games Plus, like, in both the PS2 sections, PS3 sections, and the GameCube sections. No Sonic games. There's one flea market that I went to. A guy had Shadow the Hedgehog on GameCube. It was a little water damaged, but he had it was like $15. I'm like, I know this is worth a lot more than this. I'm gonna pick it up. And I remember walking out of the store, and she's like, "What? Why is Shadow in this game?" And I went, because it's like Sonic, but with guns.
Sonic with guns.
Shadow the Hedgehog.
He was just like evil Sonic. That's how I took him as. But then when you get to know him, he's not that bad.
Yeah, he's misunderstood.
Just different.
Yeah. So if there was one thing that you could, like, like world disaster, there's one thing you could take with you from your collection right now. You can only save one thing. What would it be?
I can save one thing from my collection. I think the best thing I could probably save is, there's one thing. There's one thing I always had, staple of a weekend that everyone hated, but I just got. It was just a perfect weekend. God, or the devil was looking down on me and saying like, "We got you, bro." But it was a camping trip. We went to Cooperstown for the baseball Hall of Fame.
Okay.
Everyone got rained out. Everyone, all their stuff got rained. Everything got soaked. My stuff was the only one who stayed dried out of 70, 80 people. I was the only person that got dry. I think it was like 2 other people, possibly. But everyone on my tent was soaked. Everyone was soaked. Everyone's stuff was so soaked they canceled the trip.
Wow.
So we go to the Baseball Hall of Fame. There's about to be another storm, another monsoon coming up. So they're like, you know what, we're canceling the trip and all that stuff. One thing I bought from there was a 24 gold plated medallion from the Yankees or whatever. We'll end up getting a black Louisville Slugger. I think he still has it to this day, and it's just one of those staple pieces that we grow up and we kept. And I saw the medallion, never touched it. It's been in this case unopened, and it's just one of those things I just am gonna keep in there, and just eventually just hang it up and be like, this is a one day where the world said fuck everyone but Joe. Let's give Joe a little a pat on the back. So that's something I always keep with me. I always know where it is. My mom was like, hey, I got this box, whatever, here and here. And I remember texting her, yep, this is what's in the box. Don't touch it. Don't open it. If you open it, there's this in here. Don't touch it. If you need to touch it, there's a handkerchief in there. Grab with the handkerchief. I don't want anyone touching it. Because if it opens up, I'm going to be extremely upset. And it's just one of those things that it's one thing in my collection. I always know where it is. And I haven't seen it in about 4 years. I just got the box in my garage now. And I know it's in there. Because I checked it. It's definitely in there. It's still in there. But it's just one of those things that it's just tossed in there, and I just know it's in there. And I think that would be one of those things in the collection I would always take with me. It's just because people believe in good luck charms. I don't believe in them, but it was just one of those tokens of a good memory I had. Unfortunately, it was at 70, 80 other people's expense, but it was good to me.
So it's been really nice talking with you today. So really, what I'm hearing from everything we've talked about is that the things in your collection have a lot of good memories for you, and for you, it's not just the acquiring of things. I don't really think for any collector it is about acquiring of things or any, I would say healthy collection is about just acquiring things. It's about either the memories that you made with them, like finding them, or the memories that they bring to you.
Yeah, I think, you touched on it great with the words healthy collecting. There's healthy collecting, then there's hoarding, and then there's scavenging and stuff like that. If you collect something healthily and you appreciate it and stuff like that, you letting it go is still you collected it. It's in the Pokedex. It's already marked down, and it's one of those things like once it's served that purpose and it's served that fulfillment, and you're ready to let it go. Allowing others to feel that joy and stuff like that is going to be far better than you holding on to it. You can always just die one day and you won't know where it goes. Get thrown out in the bag and no one can cherish it and stuff like that. So that's why I hold on things here and there, and then I get rid of them and stuff like that. But I do have a quick question before we wrap up. I guess it's to give it to you. I know I've seen your collection. It's crazy huge.
Yeah,
I'm not going to give you one. I'm going to give you two. You get to keep two things in your collection, but they can't be of the same genre. So, for example, if you pick one Pokemon thing.
Something else.
Pokemon is gone.
I've kind of already said it before. I think the main one for me right now be Pokemon Red. It was the first video game that I actually got. So I have so many memories. I actually still think somehow the battery has not dried out in that game,
which is crazy good.
And I know I've restarted it, but the fact that it's still in its original battery from 1999 or 1996, that's
still
crazy.
Still kicking.
It's crazy. So its first one's gonna be that game. I'll pick up a Superboy or Retron somewhere at some point. Down the line after my house burns down. But it would be that, and then it would have to be. I have this giant Street Sharks plush right now. It's of Ripster.
I've seen that. I think it's actually really dope.
And it was a carnival gift. It was like a carnival prize back in the day.
So what's the story behind that one? What makes that
that one
top two?
So we had been searching and searching and searching and searching for just Street Shark stuff, because the thing is, coming across Street Shark stuff is exceedingly difficult.
Because I don't think people knew of what it was back in the day, and it was just seem
Yeah, people didn't really it was it was Mattel's plight to take down Playmates, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah,
and I grew up on it because we would go down to Maricina Library and we pick up the VHS, and they had the VHS there. So it was only the first episode, so I watch it again and again and again and again and again. But we were trying to find some Street Shark stuff. So typically what we do is my wife or I will like go online and say like what merchandise is available, because I also really like the peripherals stuff too.
Yeah.
So like I have a pair of Street Shark sneakers that are like toddler size 6 that obviously not going to fit me, not going to fit you.
No,
But
definitely.
one day my child will be able to rock those to school. So that's was kind of the thought with that.
Yeah.
But we came across the Street Sharks plush one day. I'm like, oh, this is really cool. Like, and it was like, I think it was like $200-300, something like that. So like for Street Sharks merchandise, not too crazy.
Yeah.
Definitely more than you want to spend on a plush.
Definitely.
But I couldn't bring myself to buy it. And so then I found someone local that had it, and they wanted $4 for it. And I'm like, I'm not going to spend $2 to $3 on it. Why am I going to spend $4 on it? So I turned it down. And then it turns out Jocelyn, actually, she found somebody who was selling one of the Ripsters and one of the Streaks, which are 2 of the characters.
Yep.
And she got them in a combo deal. So I got home from work one day, and she like pulls out this box. It was like a rough day. And she says, open it. And I pull them out, and there are these giant, like they're probably like 36 inches tall. Like,
wow.
Like from, if you stand them up, like they're 36 inches tall. I know I have them like sitting on the top of like a bookcase, that I just have this like great plush of Ripster. So that's where that came from, and I just absolutely love it.
And I think that memory of her doing it for you is going to be, that's the core memory that you're going to have from it. Like whether you get rid of it or not, it's the fact that, you know, your wife went through all this work and did all this stuff to find it.
Exactly.
What you laughing at, Will?
He's mad because he's gonna not go. No, he doesn't have nobody.
He wish someone bought him a Ripster and Crash.
Exactly. Well, so I'm Alex, and this is Joe. And Joe, where can they find you?
You can find us at the Bump Boys. You know, most of our stuff is all through at the Bump Boys. I'll give Alex my information. You can find it in the description, and you know, big on YouTube, and that's the best way to contact us. So.
And you can find me at Alex Forrest Music on Instagram, but you can also find Nostalgia Junkies at Nostalgia Junkies Podcast on Instagram. You can find us at Nostalgia Junkies on TikTok, Nostalgia Junkies Podcast on YouTube, which is probably where you're watching this, or on Anchor or Spotify. And then you can just email us at nostalgiajunkiesct.
Or just stop in Retro Drunk in Manchester, Connecticut.
And say hi to Brandon.
And say hi to Brandon.
Yeah.
That's all, folks. Thank you for listening to the Nostalgia Junkies podcast. Follow us on social media, subscribe to the podcast, and make sure to never miss an episode. Till the next episode.